The morning sun spilled across the crowded city park, turning every blade of grass into gold, but for one lonely father, the light only revealed how exhausted life had become. He sat quietly on an old wooden bench, holding a paper cup of coffee that had already gone cold while his little daughter laughed at pigeons only a few feet away. Around them, people hurried toward successful lives that seemed forever out of reach. He had no idea that within the next hour, a single question from the richest woman in the city would uncover a secret that had quietly connected their lives for years. One sentence would change everything forever. It wasn't a business deal. It wasn't a miracle. It was something far more powerful, kindness that had traveled in silence until the perfect moment finally brought it home. If stories about compassion, hope, and second chances inspire you, welcome to Lifeline Tales. We hope this story stays with you long after it ends. Owen Carter had once believed that hard work could solve almost anything. He had worked construction during the day, delivered groceries in the evening, and spent every remaining moment raising his 6-year-old daughter, Hazel. Life had changed without warning after his wife lost her battle with cancer 3 years earlier. The hospital bills had swallowed their savings, and grief had taken away every comfortable certainty he once knew. Yet every morning, Owen smiled for Hazel because she deserved a father who looked stronger than he felt. The apartment they called home was small enough that every laugh echoed from wall to wall, but Hazel never complained. She believed adventures could happen anywhere. Empty cardboard boxes became castles. Old blankets became magical forests. The tiny kitchen became the world's greatest restaurant whenever Owen managed to cook pancakes on Sunday mornings. She never noticed how often her father skipped meals so she could have a little extra. Unknown to Owen, someone had been quietly watching pieces of his journey for years. Not through cameras or investigators, but through handwritten reports sent to an anonymous foundation that specialized in helping families without revealing where the help came from. Every month, Owen somehow received grocery vouchers after particularly difficult weeks. Hazel's school tuition was mysteriously covered whenever deadlines arrived. Medical prescriptions were suddenly marked as paid. Whenever another crisis appeared, an invisible hand somehow reached them first. The woman behind those silent miracles was Serena Whitmore, one of the youngest billionaires in the country. Newspapers described her as brilliant, fearless, and impossible to impress. Business magazines praised her investments while social media admired her luxurious lifestyle. Very few people knew the promise she had made after losing her own father as a teenager. He had once told her that the greatest wealth was the ability to change someone's tomorrow without asking for applause today. She never forgot those words. Instead of attaching her name to charities, Serena created a private program that selected struggling families through community volunteers. She refused to meet them because she believed gratitude should never become a debt. Owen Carter's family had become one of those files years earlier after a local teacher noticed Hazel arriving at school every day with perfect manners but worn-out shoes. On that bright Saturday morning, Serena escaped another exhausting charity gala planning meeting by asking her driver to stop near Riverside Park. She wanted an hour where nobody recognized her as the billionaire whose calendar controlled every minute of her life. Wearing simple clothes and sunglasses, she walked through the park unnoticed until she saw a familiar little girl chasing pigeons with endless laughter. She recognized Hazel immediately from the yearly progress reports she secretly read herself. Her heart paused. For the first time, she wasn't reading about this family. She was seeing them. Owen sat quietly, shoulders carrying years of invisible weight. His clothes were clean but faded. His hands showed scars from honest labor. Even while watching Hazel play, his eyes constantly searched the surroundings like a man determined to protect the only treasure he had left. Without fully understanding why, Serena slowly walked toward the empty bench. She smiled gently. "Can I sit with you?" Owen looked surprised before politely moving his backpack aside. He nodded with the natural kindness that had survived every hardship life placed before him. Neither of them knew that this ordinary request would become the beginning of an extraordinary friendship. For nearly an hour, they watched children play beneath the warm afternoon sun. They spoke about simple things, the weather, books, the city's changing skyline, and how quickly children seemed to grow. Owen never complained about his struggles. Instead, he talked proudly about Hazel's love for drawing and her dream of becoming an architect because she wanted to build homes where no child ever felt lonely. Serena listened more than she spoke. She realized every report she had read failed to capture the quiet dignity sitting beside her. There was no bitterness. No anger. Only determination. Before leaving, Hazel proudly showed Serena a drawing she had finished on a small notebook. It showed a tiny family standing beneath a giant tree with sunlight shining through its branches. Above them she had written, "Hope always finds us." Serena carried those words with her long after she returned to her office. Over the following weeks, she found herself visiting the park more often. Their conversations became a peaceful escape from board meetings, financial headlines, and endless expectations. Owen still had no idea who she really was. To him, Serena was simply an intelligent woman who enjoyed listening without judging. For Serena, Owen represented something money could never purchase. Peace. She admired how he celebrated tiny victories. Finding Hazel a second-hand bicycle felt as meaningful to him as billion-dollar acquisitions felt to investors. Repairing a broken toy became an evening worth remembering. Every ordinary moment became extraordinary because he refused to let hardship steal joy from his daughter. One afternoon, Serena received terrible news. A major investment failed unexpectedly, creating weeks of media attacks questioning her leadership. Reporters surrounded her office. Television channels predicted disaster. Friends disappeared almost overnight. Feeling overwhelmed, she returned to the same park. Owen noticed sadness in her eyes before she said a single word. He reminded her that storms often convince people the sun has disappeared forever, even though it remains above the clouds the entire time. Success, he said, should never define a person's worth because character survives both victory and failure. Those simple words touched Serena more deeply than expensive executive coaching ever had. She finally understood something remarkable. She had believed she was quietly saving Owen's family for years. In truth, his quiet strength had begun saving her. Months later, Serena decided it was time to visit the community center that originally recommended Owen's family. While reviewing old files, one volunteer accidentally mentioned how every anonymous donation had transformed their lives. Another volunteer smiled and revealed that Owen often spent weekends helping other struggling parents repair broken homes without accepting payment because he believed kindness should always continue traveling. Serena could no longer remain anonymous. She invited Owen and Hazel to a family appreciation event hosted by her foundation. Believing it was simply another community celebration, Owen accepted. When Serena stepped onto the stage as the foundation's founder, Owen froze. The woman from the park. The friend who shared quiet mornings. The listener. The billionaire everyone recognized. As Serena spoke, the audience learned about a father who never stopped believing in tomorrow despite unimaginable loss. She never mentioned every detail of his hardships. Instead, she honored his resilience, generosity, and unwavering love for his daughter. Then she revealed one final truth. For years, her foundation had anonymously supported Owen's family. Gasps spread across the room. Owen lowered his head, overwhelmed by emotions too deep for words. Tears filled Hazel's eyes as she realized the mysterious kindness that had followed them throughout childhood had always come from someone who never expected anything in return. Serena walked down from the stage and embraced Hazel first. Then she thanked Owen. Not because he needed saving. Because his courage reminded everyone present that dignity can survive poverty, grief, and uncertainty. She announced a new initiative inspired by his story, a nationwide program supporting single parents through education, childcare, and career opportunities while preserving their privacy and self-respect. News outlets covered the event for weeks. Yet the headline Serena treasured most came from Hazel. She hugged both adults tightly and whispered that hope had finally found all of them. Years later, Riverside Park remained their favorite place. The same wooden bench still overlooked children playing beneath bright afternoon skies. Only now it carried a small engraved plaque. Kindness is most powerful when it expects nothing in return. Visitors admired the message without knowing the extraordinary story behind it. Owen eventually became director of community outreach for Serena's foundation, helping thousands of families discover the same invisible hope that once carried him through his darkest seasons. Hazel grew into a talented young architect determined to design affordable family housing filled with parks, libraries, and sunlight. Sometimes the greatest heroes never wear expensive suits or appear on magazine covers. Sometimes they are tired fathers carrying lunchboxes. Sometimes they are generous strangers asking one simple question. And sometimes, the smallest act of kindness quietly changes generations. If this story touched your heart, we'd love to know what part stayed with you the most and why your thoughts matter because they help keep stories of hope alive.